Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Tuesday morning, the 31st of December. Happy New Year's Eve day, everyone. Alright, we're gonna leave the absolute madness that is the Sebastian Rogers case to one side for this video. And we're going to concentrate on another case that is of equal madness, but for different reasons. It's been a minute since I last talked about the Delphi case. We've got a lot of updates to get through, so let's get into it and keep looking. Don't look away.
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."
Alright, so just after Christmas, Richard Allen was transferred, guess where? Back to Westville. Yeah. Imagine, now convicted of a crime that I believe he didn't commit. Imagine what Richard Allen's life is going to be like now. Will he even survive to get to an appeal? What will that appeal look like? Because it appears that Judge Gull is trying her best to stymie that appeal. In good old-fashioned, dishonourable Francis Gull fashion, that's exactly what she's trying to do. But with Richard Allen being back at Westville, it appears that some people, including Hidden True Crime, it's going to be so bad for Rick Allen now that Waller's not there. You know, those that tried so hard to get Dr. Waller removed, well, it was her own behaviour that got her removed from her job at Westville, considering she seemed to be one of the few who cared he was there. Yeah, are you effing insane? Are you? We've got more from Hidden True Crime coming shortly. But let's cover the things that have come out from the court and motions that have been presented by the defence. Let's start with this one. Motion for authorisation to appoint 2 appellant attorneys. State Public Defender Amy E. Carrazos files a motion requesting authorisation from the court to appoint 2 attorneys to perfect Richard M. Allen's direct appeal. In support, counsel shows the court the following. November 11, 2024, Mr. Allen was convicted of 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony murder following a lengthy trial. On December 20th, the court vacated the 2 felony murder counts, sentenced Richard Allen to 65 years and each remaining murder count, and ordered the sentence to be served consecutively for a total sentence of 130 years. We know all that, don't we? So Rick Allen will be 180 some years old before he is eligible for parole. December 19th, Mr. Allen's trial counsel filed a motion requesting the court refer Mr. Allen's case to the State Public Defender pursuant to Indiana Code 3342-1 for appointment of appellant counsel. Trial counsel's motion to refer to State Public Defender for appointment, and they believe that no individual appellant attorney will be able to manage the volume of information in this case under the tight deadlines required by Indiana Rules of Appellant Procedure. Trial counsel further believes, in the interest of judicial economy, that this court facilitate the appointment of multiple appellant lawyers to prosecute defendant Allen's appeal within a reasonable time, and to further avoid the possibility of lengthy continuances and delays, which would certainly result from the appointment of any one attorney. December 20th, the trial court appointed the State Public Defender to timely effect an appeal on Mr. Allen's behalf. Following her appointment, undersigned counsel has consulted with several experienced appellant attorneys qualified to handle a murder conviction appeal, and has concluded that the case calls for more than one attorney to represent Mr. Allen in the direct appeal to adequately and timely review the voluminous record, multiple pre-trial hearings, trial proceedings, and evidence presented in this case. case, the State Public Defender requests the court to authorise her to appoint 2 attorneys to perfect Mr. Allen's direct appeal. We don't know what Judge Gull will decide to do with this, but what we do know is that maybe Judge Gull will be able to cut down on the voluminous amount of information that any appellant lawyer will have access to. How will she do that, Michelle, I hear you say? Well, Rick Allen's counsel motioned for the court to ensure the preservation of all evidence in this case. Can't be ambiguous, can't be vague, can it? All means all. Well, what did she say? What order did she produce? This is just laughable. Trial counsel's motion to preserve evidence reviewed. Counsel's request to preserve all evidence is vague and therefore denied. Counsel's request to preserve all documents related to the jury veneer is granted. The court will retain records pursuant to jury rules. So the request to preserve all evidence is vague. All means all. It just means all of it. Everything. How can that be vague? It's the least vague thing that you can possibly say. Honestly, this judge, can you imagine the type of evidence that is going to be quote-unquote lost or not preserved? Can you imagine? Now, this is an order that I don't mind. Court orders the crime scene photos, autopsy photos and reports, all medical and mental health records to be sealed. I don't have a problem with that, honestly. I know some people do, but alright, final thing I want to show you before we get into the nonsense that is Jerry Holeman. Court notes filing by trial counsel for a precipice for transcript and refers same to appellant counsel, the State Public Defender, for review. I agree with R&M Productions here. Her Majesty, the Dishonourable Judge Fran Gull has essentially just denied, or at the very least significantly delayed, the production of that transcript. We said she would do this very thing. Something is very, very, very wrong. Very wrong. Do not look away. Absolutely, do not look away. The nonsense is still happening. A couple of days ago, Lieutenant Jerry Holeman, you know, the guy who interrogated Rick Allen and arrested him on 26th of October 2022. Jerry Holeman had an interview on Hidden True Crime, who is very pro-prosecution. I can't go through it with you because I can't be bothered with trying to explain to YouTube that copyright claiming a review of an interview where you provide commentary is fair use. It seems that Hidden True Crime is very litigious in these kind of things. R&M Productions has had a video removed due to a copyright claim by Hidden True Crime. I didn't have a chance to see this. I assume R&M Productions was commentating on that interview. Hidden True Crime and Lieutenant Jerry Holeman. Transparency matters. Also Hidden True Crime and Lieutenant Jerry Holeman. Yeah. And it's not just R&M Productions. Oh no, they got Smo. And there I was thinking I was a nobody. So, I can't play clips. I can't even show you the transcript. The transcript is also going to be eligible for removal. This is on Reddit. Removed by Reddit in response to a copyright notice. Reddit should know that providing a transcript for accessibility purposes does not breach copyright, and I'm sure that Lieutenant Holeman would not want members of the deaf community being denied the transparency he's so desperate to provide. Right? Yeah. Get a transcript if you click on the video. So I'm guessing that Hidden True Crime wants everybody to click on the video. That's fair enough, but providing commentary on YouTube videos is fair use. So I can't even show you the transcript. What I can do though is I can talk through elements of it, can't I? Without actually showing any of the video or any of the transcript. And nobody can say that breaches copyright, can they? No. There are a couple of egregious things I want to mention that Jerry Holeman admitted to. Now the gag order's lifted, now that, the conviction's in place, now that he's back in Westville, and in my opinion, unlikely to ever reach an appellate court, because, mysteriously, Richard Allen might Epstein himself. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a possibility. But he blabbered on. He absolutely blabbered on about the loss of video recordings throughout this case. Blabbered on about technical difficulties. But admitted that he did not read Rick Allen his Miranda rights on the 26th of October 2022. 38 minutes and 35 seconds into the interview. This is what Jerry Holeman says. Basically told him that he was free to go. And we were here to discuss the items that we took. But did not officially read him his Miranda rights because he was not in custody. We were going to return some of the test results. I asked him, do you remember being interviewed a couple of days ago by the investigator Mullen and Detective Liggett? And he said yes. So I said, so you're aware of your Miranda warnings? And he said, yeah. I said, that door is not locked. You're free to go at any time. But he was arrested and he was very rigorously interrogated. So I didn't officially read him his Miranda warnings, but I made sure that he was aware. And unfortunately, that was not caught on the recording system. It was not intentionally done. I'm not even intelligent enough to know how to delete interviews like that. I wouldn't even know where to start. So you wouldn't know where to start, but you could get a pal who is a little bit more technologically savvy to do it for you, couldn't you? But admits it didn't read him his Miranda rights during a vigorous interrogation. Surely, once you get into an interview that isn't just returning his items, as Rick Allen thought was happening, all these things you thought were odd that you said, like Kathy Allen being standoffish. You ever thought that Kathy Allen might have been absolutely terrified? It's odd that Rick Allen says things like, it's over. Think that's odd? Do you think that Rick Allen could see where this was going? Do you think that Rick Allen, if he tried to get up and leave on the 26th of October 2022, do you think he would have been allowed to leave? No, because they'd already made up their minds. They'd already made up their minds that they got him. But don't bother reading him his rights. No, don't bother with that. Just keep him talking. Get him mad. Let's do that. Admitting to all of these systems failures. Crazy. And the way that you think Rick Allen was trying to manipulate the system is just absolutely laughable, seeing as Rick Allen was psychotic during a large part of his incarceration at Westville. Saying here 33 minutes and 41 seconds. His action he was doing at the correction facility to get what he wanted. He broke his iPad and wanted a new one. He didn't like his living conditions. He wanted to be moved. He wanted in-person visits with his wife. And I think he was being manipulative, saying those things, and at some point, using religion and his Bible, trying to convince people, that he found God. And I hope he did. I hope he confesses all his sins, and I hope he's forgiven for those sins. I just have a hard time believing that. But it's right at the end of this interview that things get very disturbing, because Jerry Holeman absolutely admits that leaks were made, but it was all okay that leaks were made from his side because it wasn't crime scene photos. So you can leak what you want basically during a gag order as long as it's not crime scene photos. Why would the defence want crime scene photos to be leaked? Why on earth would they want crime scene photos leaked? Even if they showed elements of, Odinism that you think that you rigorously investigated. Absolutely laughable. If anybody believes this, I'm sorry. You need to, I don't know, I think you're struggling. I think you're struggling with the basics of life if you can believe this guy. So he was talking about the victim impact statements. So 1 hour and 10 minutes here. They blame the defence, and they were upset that Rick Allen's counsel was so careless with the photos. in their offices that someone got a hold of them, took the photos of these crime scene photos and put them on the internet. It was the photos that the defence had possession of. They were carelessly strewn in a private office that Mitch Westerman, I believe, was paid to go and get some juicy things that they could put out to make the defence look bad. That's what I believed happened. Carelessly strewn. We had those photos from day one pretty much, and none of those photos were released until after discovering how they accused us of leaking crime scene photos, but they were confused that there were some photos taken by citizens of the clothes in the creek that were released. Those were not from law enforcement. They were not crime scene photos. Once the crime scene was secured and photos were taken, none of those were released to the public. Now, there was some information being leaked to second, third hand, absolutely. So, there was some information being leaked. There was some information being leaked to second or third hand. So, one leaker gives it to another person, who gives it to another person, who puts it on the internet, or whatever. Or giving Barbara MacDonald the Odin report. Absolutely, but not crime scene photos, and I think they should be held responsible for that. But the gag order didn't just relate to crime scene photos though, did it? So you have now admitted, Jerry Holeman, you absolute fool, that leaks were coming out from your side, from law enforcement. During the gag order, you've admitted it. You've admitted it. You absolute clown. You think you've got this all stitched up, don't you? And maybe you do. Rick Allen, is he gonna even survive to get to an appeal? Outrageous. Alright guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.